Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our Open Central Asia Regional Interest Community webinar. My name is Yakin Ibrahim. I am one of the community leaders of the Open Central Asia Interest Community. So we are very happy to have you here on our Open Globe Insights webinar. And our presenter for today for our segment Open Globe Insights, Araceli Flores de Alba from Mexico. So let me introduce our presenter. Araceli Flores de Alba is a professor at the University Department of English at the Autonomous University of San Luis Potosi, where she has been teaching since 1998. Prior to the establishment of the English department, she taught English for 5 years at the Faculty of Communication within the same university. She earned a master's degree in education from the university's Faculty of Psychology and is currently pursuing a doctorate in education. Alongside her teaching responsibilities, which now include work with the university's multidisciplinary and intercultural extension, she's also writing a book focused on autonomous motivation in learning English to achieve higher proficiency. This book forms part of a proposal for the university during her sabbatical year, which began in August of last year. Welcome, dear Araceli Flores.
Hello, good day, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And we are going to be very, very concentrated using all our senses, everything connected from ourselves in order to succeed in this wonderful journey. Well, thank you very much, Joaquin, for the presentation of me. So let's get started. What do you think? Are you all set? Yes. So
Yes.
think about the first thought, which is active research and reflective thinking are always interconnected. One cannot be without the other one. And the best way to fulfill our teaching and learning goals is through these two actions, always awaken. So I want to start with a book that I really recommend you to read. There is no way for us to go through teaching without research, and that all comes from reading. Also, something that I want you to consider is that if we work at least in peers, I mean, working with someone else to reflect together, we create synergy. If we make it happen that way, we will succeed. So this book I truly recommend about reflective thinking in teachers, which is written by Germaine Taggett and this other man, Alfred Wilson. They both are American. They work together. That's an example of how in pairs we work much better. Also, we have here two wonderful authors from reflective thinking, which is John Dewey, 1993, then Donald Shaw, 1983. 50 years later, one from another. And then from there, from Donald Shaw, 50 years later, here we are. Well, 40 something. But I would like you to think about this story before we go on. Imagine a group of frogs that fell down in a big hole. The bottom of the place was getting warm and then hot. The frogs that were outside were saying, "Impossible for you to come out of that hole." So the frogs started jumping up harder and harder. But since the frogs above, the ones that were not in the hole, were negative and saying, "No, impossible for you to come out. You won't make it." But there was one that came out successfully. And that one that came out from that hole was deaf. What is the analogy of this story? It is that many times we need to listen from ourselves inside of what's going to go on in our teaching. If we listen to negative ideas, negative points, we won't make it. So we always need to be very optimistic in our teaching, very passionate in order to follow up. Okay, I want you to check this picture here on how we need to think about our reflective thinking and our active research. When we are in the classroom, we many times identify problems in our students or in ourselves when a class goes on. So from there, we need to observe, reflect, gather some data. We have moral judgments, and also the schema and the context. We frame the problem, and we always bring possible solutions. And then we have an intervention. We experiment, and then we evaluate. From that evaluation, we have two ways to reject what's going on, or to accept that we have a problem and that we have a schema. And then from there, we go ahead and think about a problem to succeed. But where can somebody tell me where is the point where someone comes across to work with us? I would like someone to interact with me.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Dear participants, you can share your ideas, your thoughts in the chat box. So we have a moderator, today's session's moderator, Nadira Kushpakova from Uzbekistan. She's going to moderate the chat box, and she's also going to facilitate the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, someone is asking, can you repeat the question, please?
If we have a colleague that works with us, this colleague could come to our classroom, and in every single step, we work together. We talk about, we write, we analyze, we observe, and then we determine what strategies we can use in order to arrange the situation, fix the problem, and make the learning come. Always with a great attitude. I have, in my experience of more than 30 years of teaching, that attitude is really
Апай, өзіңіздің қызыңыз деп айтсын, жаныңды шығарам дедім ғой мен.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped. You can go on. Thank you.
Okay. So we cannot stop our brain. We're always judging and we're always observing. The point is, in those different experiments that we have in the classroom, we need to bring it into a concise idea of, once we identify the problem, we need to do research. We need to investigate. We need to read and find out how to solve the situation. Not only judging, not only observing, but coming into a wonderful point in which we have great results. Moving on into reflective thinking, I have here 6 points that I want you to think about. If you're writing, it's better, because once we finish this talk, this chat, we're going to have our notes that later can be very useful for our self-teaching. So for reflective thinking, we have this regular reflect in our practices when we teach. We need to consider our biases and our beliefs, seek the feedback from the students and colleagues. It's also important to have the point from our students, how they are feeling, how they are thinking about what they are learning, if the class is comfortable for them, if they are really into motivation. Then analyze our self-assessment, our students' assessments, and our colleagues' assessments. So we then can create synergy. We're willing to have this challenge all the time. And from our reading and our writing, from our own facts, all these needs to be visualized in a way in which we can share what we get, not only with the colleagues we're working with, but with others at the university or at the school that you're working at. Moving on, here is a formula that has been in my mind and in my daily teaching all the time. Active research and reflective thinking. When we have dynamism and effective learning environment, we can have in the process of our classes and at the end of them, each of them, a vibrant space where the energy meets purpose and the learning becomes a transformation. We need to transform. We need to be in that point. We cannot just go and teach whatever comes. We need to be prepared for every single thing. We know that our students are not the same. They are each different. And because of that, we need to personalize. We need to see our students' situations, how they are moving, because the dynamism comes, yes, from you, but also from our students. We need to find out their background situation, if they are having some trouble so that they cannot connect with the class or what's going on. So it does not depend only in us. For example, you sometimes come to the classroom and say, oh, I brought this very dynamic class and my students are like not paying attention. So maybe it's not you, maybe it's what they are going through. So having some talks closer with them, that can help also to come into this vibrant space. Now, I want you to think about other two famous active researchers. Any guess? Here they are. Another idea that tells us why working in pairs brings us to synergy. So they are Wilfred Carr and Stephen Kemmins. One is from Britain and the other one is Australian. And Wilfred Carr is a British scholar who promoted action research and teachers as reflective practitioners, as well as Stephen Kemmins, who is an Australian scholar known for developing critical action research and promoting collaboration to improve education. And the work of both emphasizes reflection, collaboration, and social transformation to improve teaching and learning practicing. I want you to check here for them. One was born 1943 and the other one 1946, 3 years of difference. So they're still alive. And I've been reading from them as well as my students. I ask my students to connect to this point, to this idea of also they have to be reflective and they have to do research. It's part of the process of each person. And these two guys here have brought into this talk an idea of helping ourselves to make it happen, to collaborate. In my country, unfortunately, most of the teachers at university level are very individualistic. I don't know if in your place it happens the same way. It's difficult to match schedules or interests. Many teachers are not there because because they have that inner interest of really teaching. Many come for money, and that's sad. So when I have the opportunity to talk to different teachers about my schema and all that, unfortunately, they do not want to participate. Many think about what am I going to get out of this, specifically talking about money. So we need to select, we need to be very selective on what teachers can collaborate with us, what colleagues are really interested in. So then continuing with the active research, it is important to identify specific teaching. What are the things that our teachers need and what our students need, both. So we need to identify specific teaching, issue or area for improvement, and systematically investigate it through observation, data collection, and reflection. Writing. I really mean it. We need to write our narratives. And the narratives help us to identify, once we are writing, specific things, specific points of what we need to research on. It tells us it's going to come no matter what. As you finish your class, take a moment in which you can write. Say, okay, today I had this experience. I didn't like this. I enjoyed that. I could see my students were doing this. Once they were able to have the activity in which they produce communicative activities. And when you see them, they are talking, they are developing, you see them comfortable, they are having activity in teams or in pair work. You can visualize what's going on. And once you write, you will have the opportunity to discover within yourself what you need to do in your research. Engage in ongoing professional development. 3 points that are very important. Collaborate with colleagues, experiment new teachings, and stay curious and open. Make each class a very special moment, because you never know which one will be very fitable for you and your students, and connect each other. In collaboration with colleagues, engage in peer observation and feedback to learn from each other's experiences and gain new perspectives on teaching and learning. If you would like to do research on lesson study, that's a study that comes from Japan, from Asia. So you can really think about that lesson study progress. It's been on nowadays everywhere. In the experiment in new teaching, we need to try out different institutional methods and assess their effectiveness based on the students' feedbacks and data. For example, this kind of method with each project, working through projects, or inverse teaching, the ones that the students get to know ahead because of their research what the class is going to be about, so they interact better. Or others could be problem solving. Anyway, we can find many. For staying curious and open, we need to be willing in challenges in which our own assumption and embracement innovate approaches in our teaching. Always innovating. This is working fine, this is not. Be selective. If one strategy doesn't work, move to another one. Creativity matters much here. And also to stay focused. The active research and the reflective thinking always go together, as I said at the beginning. Evaluate, investigate, analyze, help, and be effective. That part of helping, we are not much into. We think that it's just me in the classroom, my students, and that's it. Yesterday, I want to tell you that I talked to a teacher that is probably 10 years older than me. And I asked her if she had remember when in 2002 we had this experiment of peer observation. And I asked her, did you remember this activity that we had then? And then she said, oh, yes, that was awful. I didn't like it at all. Why did we have to be observed? We have been trained for teaching. So I don't like that of being observed. I know my way. So there are still many ideas in which people do not want to be observed. It implies more work, definitely, because it comes from the planning, how we plan our lessons, how we approach to our students' needs, how we bring these materials in which we really create knowledge development in the classroom for students to use later on for life. Yes, it requires a hard job. It's a hard work that we need to develop. And I have just one other teacher, which is a colleague, that says, teacher, let's do it. Let's observe each other. So hopefully we're going to start this activity in the coming month, in October, once we start our second partial in the semester. Coming out from what problems we have discovered from the first partial, what our students are facing. And notice something important. Technology matters, but as you have read in different countries such as, well, in England, they are going back to basics. And other countries too, at Switzerland, is we need to bring into our own thinking without the ChatGPT, without all those things that prive our creativity. We can make connections and we can combine, but unfortunately, now we have students that copy paste and don't think. Okay, we need to plan the research design. How does that come? Always find a purpose. What do we really want to get? Ask questions, select the data, analyze, and go into the reinitiation. Always going back and focus in our purpose. That's for planning the research design. Once we're doing the research, we need to select the tools. We need to select the articles or books to read, design activities and materials, and then collect data. Are my materials very usable, meaningful, or they are just things in which I only enjoy? They need to be enjoyable for everybody in the classroom. You analyze the data. You have to bring everything together, select and prepare. Again, writing, teachers, writing is cyclical. We have to be very reflective when we observe, when we act, when we evaluate, and when we modify. We say, this class didn't go that well, but I can always go better and move into a new direction. Always plan. There is no way to come and improvise. No, we have to plan. There must be also some improvisation depending on how the group moves, but with a plan, with a support. When you act, you reflect, you feel very strong for what you have in the class. You observe, you revise, evaluate, and restart. This is a cyclical stuff. When you plan, you write. Once you act, reflect, observe, revise and evaluate and restart, all those points in the process matter for your writing. The action research then is reflection, collaboration, and improvement. The reflective thinking is awareness, analysis, and growth. If you don't grow as a teacher, your students won't grow. I have an important say always in my mind and in my actions as a teacher. I really believe that I mustn't be a teacher if I am not a student anymore. Definitely. I need to activate my studying in order to have this part in which we are empathic or empathetic with our students. How we really feel when we are presenting an exam, when we have this project to hand in a specific date, when we face these different teachers who are teaching us something. And that's also collaborative. I'm learning now Italian. I've been teaching English, but at the same time, I'm studying Italian. So I get ideas from my Italian teachers, how they teach. So I bring these ideas to my classroom. So it's nothing is static. Every time we're learning something new, we have to renovate all the time. And so the reflective thinking and the active research teaching brings to success. Think about it. From all this information that I have told you so far, if we give every day a moment to reflect in our teaching, we give at least 20 minutes every day for research, for reading, keeping our narratives, keeping our diary, we will always discover something new. I have told my students this semester to keep their diaries too, to write their narratives. At the end of the semester, I'm going to collect all those writings and see what I can do for writing an article or whatever from there, saying their self-analysis, their self-observation, reflection, and their self-research also. We're looking all for success, all of us. I have here some bibliography that I truly recommend you to go through, that I have within me, checking on these topics. Becoming a critically reflective teacher from Brookfield. Philosophy, Methodology, and Action Research. It's a Journal of Philosophy of Education from Wilfred Carr. From Carr, Wilfred, and Cummings, Becoming Critical, Education, Knowledge, and Action Research. From Dewey, How We Think. Cummings, The Action Research Planner, Doing Critical Participatory Action Research. And Sean, the Reflective Practitioner. Many times we do not stop in this part of the bibliography. If it happens for you to have this material within you, it is in internet. You do not have to spend a lot of money as we used to buying books at the library, at the bookstore. And there's another book that I truly recommend that I've read, which is from Jeff Olson. Jeff Olson is a guy that wrote a book called The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge is an idea in which we have to start little by little. If you are not used to doing research, if you are not used to have this reflective thinking and write about your progress and your process in your teaching, believe me, you are not going to succeed as a teacher. So this guy, Jeff Olson, in his book, The Slight Edge, as the title says, it tells you if you start little by little doing research, at the beginning, it might be difficult, it might be complicated, but once you are in, you will see the difference in time. But if you do not do it, you will also see the difference. You're going to go down. So let's get started. Let's go into the research. Let's go into working together in a collaborative work with other colleagues. At least get a partner, and walk together. I don't know, but for example, I am in the Bible. Jesus, in case in my religion, sent 2 by 2 to evangelize, 2 by 2. So in teaching, I'm sure it works. So I'm ready here for you to have, if you have questions, I'll be delighted to answer them.
Thank you.
There is
Thank-
always a time to reflect from research.
Yeah, you're right.
Araceli
Thank you.
Flores.
Thank,
It's
thank you so much, Araceli Flores. You know, your presentation was very motivational. You know, I like the way at the middle you said like you are not you won't succeed. You stop teaching. You won't succeed in teaching if you stop being a student. You know that, and how your presentations and how you today taught us like to approach each student. That was amazing. Thank you very much. Nadra, do we have any questions in the chat box?
Can we ask just only in such way
Yes,
without?
please. Yeah. Nadra, are you?
Huh?
Yeah, please. Opal, please.
Araceli, yes. Thank you for your interesting information we've got. We are very glad. And I have a question. Do you work at the university? Sorry. I entered later. That's why I couldn't listen you. Do you work at the university? In what university do you work?
Okay.
Araceli.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your question, Anna?
Do you work at the university? She asks.
What university do you work in?
What university do you work? Because she was late, a little bit late.
Oh, okay. She was late.
Sorry.
Okay,
yes, I was late.
This is going to be recorded. And something that I also want to add for this presentation is that studying does not have an age. I am 56 years old now, and I am very energetic. Every time, every day, I feel more energetic when studying. I have initiated my doctorate in education and teaching this March. I've had so much work to do, and this presentation today comes from this reflection at the beginning of my doctorate. And I wanted to share it with you because this material maybe is not too much, but every word matters. And
Yes.
every comment that I have brought will give you a fulfilled motivation for you to start up today. Today,
Thank you.
with something, whatever you read, whatever you find, share with your students, bring joy to your classroom, always smile, leave your problems aside, and make a movie, a very interesting movie, a film in your classroom. Feel it, live it, enjoy it. And then your students will be will will be in the same pace as you are. It's contagious. Joy is contagious.
Thank you very much for your explanation. But my question was, in what university do you work? The motivation is very good. Yes, thank you. I've got, but my question was, from what university are you, or where do you work?
Okay, can you repeat your question,
Yeah,
Anand?
Araceli, what university do you work? What university do you work?
Okay. I am studying at the University of San Luis Potosí at the Faculty of Science. And my PhD is online. It's online. Anyone can study it from around the world. If you would like me to give you the information, I'll be very delighted to do so. So Jerkin has got my phone number, so we can connect. I can also offer you have material that I have I have so many articles related to lesson study. My research is about lesson study, how to do pair work in the students and in the teachers. My students
Oh,
are having pair work. They are working
oh,
together in pairs all the time during semester, as well as with teachers. I want to promote that pair work, peer work.
good
So
job.
What
you're welcome
Very
to
good.
have
uh-huh. Araceli,
Thank you
what's
very much.
so within the pair work, what's the research question that you're focusing on?
pair work. Yes.
Yeah. And within the pair work, which side of it is going to be like, how does your, I mean, if you have already formulated the research question, what is it? How does that sound?
Okay. Specifically, my proposal was
Mm-hmm.
offered to the Department of English at the university
Uh-huh.
of having us work together in pairs, pair work, to share our materials, to share our classes, to be observed also if possible.
Uh-huh.
And at the beginning, they rejected my idea because they thought it's a lot of work, but I am working on my research
Mm-hmm.
about how this really matters and works because we then are connected into a more activated
Mm-hmm.
movement in which my colleague has its own education,
Mm-hmm.
vision,
Yeah.
perception, way of teaching because
Mm-hmm.
of its own education,
Makes
as well
sense.
as myself. Once we bring it together, we create synergy and then
Yeah.
we can have better results in our students. If our students get to see that other teacher comes and observes, they will see that we are really working in something ahead of just teaching. And then
Yeah.
the person that observes me teaching, or if I observe the teacher, there is always something new that we can find that the other cannot see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
makes sense.
I hope that my project will work out well at the end. I am starting my research, my active research, participative this
Mm-hmm.
semester for me
I
to
think
register everything.
yeah, I got a couple ideas associated with what you were talking about. One perhaps is modeling. If we model by watching us working in pairs, observing each other, our student might stop being afraid to show, like, for example, essays to each other, to like when we're open to a feedback from a colleague, they might be more open to that too. And then second one was the association. I was in the research degree too, so my candidacy is in the research degree. And then I was thinking about supervision in a way. So it depends on who you pair up with, whether it's a peer as a collegial pair, or it might be actually like somebody younger with a lot of innovation and modern methods, and somebody perhaps a bit older but with more kind of good methodological baggage, behind their back, like where supervision might be part of it too,
Yeah,
like in clinical degree. Yeah. Hmm.
and that can be, yes.
Yes, we have questions. The Kubra asked, can we get a link for university or me your email for further discussion, please?
Can you repeat, please?
Kubra asked that can we get a link for university or me your email for further discussion, please?
Sure.
She wants the link to contact with you.
Sure, Nadira.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from Zamzagul. Pair work and peer work. Is it related to peer reviewing or project works or classroom activities? And thank you.
Okay. Pair work is for a specific activity in which you assign in the classroom, for example, to your students or in trios or a team for a specific activity, while peer work is in which you get together for a longer period of time doing something similar for a specific purpose, for a specific goal to go in through the research that you are doing. For example, my students, every time that they present their oral exam, I have them to give, I need to give them 30 points out of a total. If the total is 10 points, they are going to get 30 points. And the very easy way of evaluating is that the exam day, the students come, they sit down in pairs, and then they have some questions that they need to answer, and maybe they have to create a dialogue, whatever. But within 5 minutes, you will have to give them 30 points. I don't think it's worth. I don't think it's deservable. So what I'm doing is that at the beginning of the partial, I assign them to develop a project in which they are to do research, they are to read, they are to summarize, get their ideas, get their points, bring examples, bring experiences, so that they are working on that the whole month. And then on the exam day, they will present their project, their results. If they had to do some questionnaires or ask some people, they will be aware of the need of bringing this new learning communicative experience into something more challenging. So if they do it in pairs, that activity, they are working together all the way to the end till they present it. And after that, they come to their own evaluation. And I tell them, what is the grade according to a rubric? Rubrics are always important. You need to create the criteria of evaluation also for yourselves. So they will evaluate themselves. Was I able to present my project in a good way? Does it contain all the elements? So rubrics, questions, research, reflection, and then it's worth. The 30 points are worth, not just something simple. It requires more work, yes. But that's what we are for. Teachers are to work hard in helping students to learn for life, not just for a class, but for life. And then if the colleague that is observing comes and see that, they will say, wow, that's challenging. And then we multiply the effect of doing something more challenging all the time. I ask my students to come and present the topic that I am supposed to present. We need to give more confidence to our students. We need to offer them the opportunity to go forward in an autonomous way, in more autonomous progress.
Absolutely. Great.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, Alima, please. One more question.
Here,
Alima, please.
you have said there is always a time to reflect from research, yes? From research, you mean about our lessons, our methods of teaching, yes? How much we are successful at conducting our lessons. From research, what do you mean? And you have said about that we should get one colleague to share with always, to work, whom we can work always, we can have peer work, yes. How can we identify if this colleague is appropriate for us? And how it would be effective?
Okay.
Yes.
The way I consider that the school politics according to the effectiveness of doing challenging activities, will definitely require to get together with the people in charge, and the effectiveness will come in the results that you get from your own research. For example, you can, I don't know if you work with Teams, the application for Teams or any platform. I don't know what platform you use, but in the school that you work, there must be a platform for students to get to see different materials that they can use. But the effectiveness that you're asking, the results that you are expecting to have, you will find that out in your own research for the different strategies that you use at the beginning, the proposal that you offer, the observations, the evaluations that you go through to have at the end results from a specific point of start. For example, if you start the semester, you have the program, and in the program, the effectiveness will come when you insert always new materials that the students can look at for them to have more practice in their development. For example, my students at university level, they are to present this project from a book that is called The Talking Manager from Álvaro González Alorda. This book is about how communication can be effective. It's got 16 chapters. They are very short, and they are to use that with examples on their own experience or someone else's experience for each of the different elements proposed for better communication. So that's part of the whole context of teaching English. So the effectiveness will come as how much and the quality of the materials that you offer to your student, that you offer to yourself, or the goal that you're willing to get at the end of the course that you are teaching. It does not depend on the politics of the school. It depends on you as a teacher. What the students' needs are, what they really require for their lifelong learning process, for achievements, and to be able to apply that language use in their own schema, in their own career, given the technical words, the technical content. If their exposition is going to be about the specific topic that you offer, bring that combination of what they are going through, what you are bringing into, to explode into a synergy. So it depends on you, definitely. Teachers matter much. Teachers, we were analyzing the other day, one of my classes, that if we are the kind of teachers that believe in the qualification and eagerness and potentials of our students, and you let them know that they are intelligent, then you are a successful student, a successful teacher. But if you are the one who do not observe, who are passive, who do not make things challenging in the classroom, that you're pretty quiet, it's not going to happen. Let students go way beyond their limits. Don't talk about limits. Talk about how much they can reach, how far they can go, not politics.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Araceli Flores. Nadira, you can read out some comments, please.
Okay. There are comments from, yes, just a second.
Yes, Nalika?
Yes, from Annabelium. I think we can all benefit from the contact and university information being shared. And from Nurzada, dear Araceli Flores, your motivation worth to admire at. I love your presentation.
Thank you, Nadira. Thank you. I
And
really appreciate it.
from Anna Balyum, we do qualitative interview this as small groups or pair work with students. For now, just elements cause my guys are still working on their language skills, but seems to be interesting.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nadira, for your comments. I really appreciate
Yes, it is from our participants from Anna and from Yagana. We have to arrange our lessons student-centered. And from Anna, and logistics is tricky within school. 2 teachers in 1 classroom, from management to lesson loads and payment all year won't work. So perhaps from time to time need to determine for how long. And from Apal, thank you, dear Araceli Flores. I wish you strong health. Your information plays great role today. I agree with you. It depends on us. And from Tunakai, it was very interesting. We appreciate your research and experience which you shared with us. Thank you. And from Alima, thanks a lot, dear Araceli Flores. You gave us motivation to be always optimistic and always reflect on our research. It gives us a push to interact with the students in communicative and interactive ways. From Boaisha, thanks Araceli Flores, I get useful information. It would be better if you visit to our country.
Great.
excellent comments. Excellent comments, Norika.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, dear Araceli Flores, for such a great presentation. Everybody, I'm sure everybody liked it. And thank you so much, dear participants, for the active participation in the chat box and asking questions. And thank you so much for moderating the chat box, Nadra. Dear Araceli Flores, again, thank you so much. Thanks for agreeing to contribute to our interest community. We really appreciate it. And for the last 3-4 minutes, I will be sharing some important information with our participants. You can stay, and while I will be sharing the information, you can share your contact details if you want, and slides if you want, with the participants in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay.
Could you please stop sharing the screen? Yes, please.
Okay. To end up, at the beginning of the classes this semester, I told my students, well, I'm going to tell you the rules for the semester. So everybody was like, with the face expectation, what is she gonna say, what the main rule is. And I said, the best and the main rule for you here in the class is to be happy. So they relaxed. But then to be happy requires to be responsible and eager to really learn. But because learning depends on each person. I can be a monkey on the desk, but if they don't want to learn, they won't. But if they want to, they will.
Thank you. Thank you so much. These words are really important. Thank you so much. Okay, dear colleagues, there are some announcements here. Our next webinar in September is going to be with Lola Uzakova from Uzbekistan. She's going to present on the topic Pathways to Inspiring English Learners, special webinar segment. So stay tuned.
Excellent.
Yerkin, are we allowed to invite people from outside?
Like
other teachers, I mean?
Yes, sure. You can invite from Central Asia, anyone from Central Asia.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, and our last webinar for September is a guest expert. Now we changed the name. We rename it. Now it's Alumni Connects Central Asia. So with this name, our last speaker is going to be Angela Nazarbekova from Kazakhstan. So she will be presenting as a guest expert. And you can, all dear participants, you can also apply for these segments. This is specifically for the open alumni teachers from Central Asia. So you can, for example, for open alumni from Central Asia, you can apply for Central Asia Voices Alumni Spotlight. For any teachers from Central Asia, Educator Connect special webinar. And for especially for open alumni, we've launched a new segment, as you see, American English, Central Asia Interest Community plus American English, where you know, with the American English live webinar just started their series 23. There will be 6 webinars, and after watching these webinars, you can learn and you can cascade the knowledge you gain it from these webinars for our community. So this is a very, I think, interesting opportunity for you to learn and to share. And of course, there will be ready slide decks from the speakers, so you can adapt them, you can change, you can put your pictures from your classroom, and you can. But if you use the original material, of course you have to give a proper credit to the speakers of the AI.
Then when it comes to cascading, do we need to like, so we fill in the form and then let you know?
Yes, you fill in the form and you just choose the webinar. Which from which webinar do you like to cascade? I mean, now the last week there was the first webinar, you know, with Hizer Benucci. So if you know, so you can watch the webinar again. You can watch the recording, and you can, of course, learn. You can download the slide decks from the open COP, Community of Practice. You can adapt it, or you can change something, and you can cascade the knowledge you have done. It's like our new project for the Central Asia, Open Central Asia.
I think we can do like, I don't know if we want to do that practice, but it kind of fits with today's topic of research and all. If the colleagues will be open to the idea, we can actually establish the rubric feedback form. So whoever wants to request colleagues to say, you know, to provide feedback, I mean, we can do that too. That might be helpful to either improve styling or presentation skills. I mean, it depends on the purpose of cascading. If we're just there to cascade the knowledge, that's one thing. If the person who is cascading is also interested in improving their presenter style, we can incorporate that idea too.
Yeah, you know, because why we've launched this project, because American English, you know, giving very qualitative, interesting webinars in their series. So it's kind of the people, maybe those who are going to shy to present even on Zoom or online, it will be like very easy for them to start, like to learn, to see the slides, ready slides, they adapt them, and they can start presenting for our community. That would be very interesting.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and the last, you can share your teaching tips. We are highlighting, we highlight every week teaching tips from the open alumni from Central Asia. For the September, that's it. Again, thank you.
That's why.
Thank you so much, dear Araceli Flores. We will be reaching out to you shortly to give you your certificate of presentation, so appreciation. So we are very happy to have you today. It was an amazing and a fantastic presentation for all of us. Okay.
How can we get our certificates? We will send
yeah.
to our email.
Yeah, let me stop the recording. First, let's say officially bye. That's it for today. Thanks for the participation, everyone. You know, it won't happen. It would never happen without you, without our teachers from Central Asia. Thank you.